Hello, I am Bentham and welcome back to Factorio Railworld, where I think we're in episode something like 24 now, and in the previous episode we were working on a big new rail line. Finally, we are actually starting to become a bit of a rail empire. We've got multiple trains going. We've got 3 going. By the end of this episode we will have at least 4 going. And that's not including the one that delivers coal and plastic products around the place. So yeah, we're going well. Suddenly there's trains, finally. It took us a while to sort of get up to speed, but now we need to get to work on keeping the ore supply going so the factory can carry on, and that's the bit where the trains start to really come important. So let's set off. We were working previously on extending this really long line all the way down to a little iron outpost we found on the very edge of the radar scanning area. Bit of science gets done there, and right now I'm just checking out the copper trains, making sure that the times are all right, because I wasn't so sure that they were sort of in line, and so I tweaked that one to make it work better, and then it suddenly shut off much sooner than I expected to, so I chased after it and had a quick check of the schedules and realised I'd got them backwards, because it's supposed to be in one station longer than another, and that's because usually at the stations where they pick up the ore, they're only loaded on one side, whereas when they are in the main station, they're unloaded from both sides, so they only need to spend half the time in the main station, which means that you're able to fit more trains onto one same station and still have it all work. So anyway, we have donned our power suit, our combat suit, whatever you want to call it, and we're making our way over to the new iron deposit that we found. Though there's a couple of biter bases to deal with on the way. We just want to make sure that the route is completely clear for the rail line. So there was a base there to deal with. Over here there is a cluster of biters that's congregating. I don't know whether they were planning on colonizing somewhere or maybe even attacking me. Probably colonizing, to be fair, but that may include attacking me. And then I got rid of the base that they spawned from and carried on my way, because we want to get but there's a lot of rail to build. So here's the one little bit we've got, and we need to have it going on both sides for a start. So first of all, I start working my way back with the other half of the rail. This is the one that the train will go down along, and because it's always a clockwise system, so it's down on the right and up on the left. And then once that's done, we'll go back down to the end and we'll start extending it down, but we'll speed that up by using a train. I went and built one just before I set off here, because of course we're going to need to put a train on this track, so that's probably a good idea. And what I can do is build the bits that aren't obstructed by trees super quick using that, as you saw there. Unfortunately, when it comes to breaking down trees, I have to get out of the train to actually cut them down so that I can put the tracks in place. But whenever there's a little straight bit, I can just fly along that in the train nice and quick and get it all done really quickly, which means it feels like I'm always working on blooming forests, because there's always tons of trees to get out of the way. So anyway, we're forcing our way slowly through all of this until it looks like we get to about the point where the 2 tracks will meet, and I'm thinking about there, and you can see the other part of the track there coming along from the main line. So we'll just extend that along a bit more, and we'll work out the crossover point so that we can build the junction there. So we'll just extend this one down just a bit more, and then let's start building it. So it looks like I've actually extended the vertical one down a bit too far, so I'll just clear some of that away in a second, and just putting the loop in. And then I can put in the bits that connect onto it, and then there's a few bits and bobs in the corners, but unfortunately I've actually run out of materials. I turned it all into straight rails, and I don't have enough to do all the curved rails, so I can't actually complete the system this time around. I'm going to have to go home to do that, so I'm just working my way back up, using up all of the straight rails that I still had handy. Of course there's a bunch of trees to get through as always. Get over back to the train. What we can actually do now is, if we tell it to go to Iron 2 back home, it will set off and go, because we have a continual piece of track all the way back home. So there we go, parked up, but of course we don't have a continual piece of track all the way back, because there's still half of the stuff that hasn't been built. So I go and grab a bunch more materials, get rid of all this ridiculous amount of raw wood that I'm gathering up from clearing all these trees out of the way, and then I can get resupplied by the drones. Though unfortunately, because they're delivering from one end of the logistics network to the other, they keep running out of battery just before they get to me, which is really infuriating, because I'm trying to get resupplied here, and they keep running off to be recharged, and then they're queuing for ages to get in onto the charge points, because there's only 4 per logistics thing, and I don't want to build more of them, because of course they use tons and tons of power, and if I expand that network I have to actually expand energy production. So anyway, to try and fix it in a different way, I'd get a couple more logistic spots. So I'd release half the stack and then the other half the stack. The reason I didn't take all of them out at the same time is because then it fills up with construction bots, and that's no good because you don't want those. So anyway, we hop on board the train and we take manual control, which means it's a bit more slow to get through everything because I'm being careful to maneuver. And then over we go, and we can stop right on the end of where the track goes. And then once we've got these little signals in here, this entire section is done now. I never have to come back here again. So we take the track up to where I got the straight rails up to before, and we can carry on working our way through these trees, and that should be the last little bit of work we have to do on these rails. Well, I mean, it is, because, well, actually, no. Once we get to the actual outpost again, we have to sort out the, finishing off the station, and then the loop that the train will use to turn around, and so on and so forth. But the actual, the rail that connects the outpost to the main base is just this last little bit here, and we'll join up any second now. There we go. So we run back to grab the train so that we can take it over to the new outpost. Hop on board, manually drive it because we don't have a station set up there yet, and of course I start building one when it reminds me. And so we're here, and we're going to work out how long to have it, and I'm going to leave it quite long because it's possible that later on I'll want to put more cargo wagons on this, because at the moment I'm planning on having 2, so I've left enough room so that I could have 4 in case it turns out we need that for the train to work properly, because of course it's got such a long distance to travel that a lot of the time the chests will just be filling up and we'll have nowhere to be emptied into. So we want to make sure that we have a decent sort of throughput from the train, and of course the longer the distance, the smaller that is because of the time the train takes to travel. So anyway, we've got all of the signals in there. We just need to put them on this little loop here. It's not yet a junction, but it might be one day, so it's a good idea to put it in. And then we put the station down, and so that we can work out the right positioning of the train, name it Iron Outpost 2, and then when I try and send the train to it, it doesn't work. And I quickly realised that I've made the schoolboy error of putting the station on the wrong side of the track, so I quickly swap it round, and the train goes straight there. So now we need to actually sort out the inserters and such, so we just put a standard row in there. And the reason that I've got this the train parked horizontally, and I've added in this whole extra bit of rail for it, is because it gives you a lot more leeway in how you can how much stuff you can load your train with, because when it's facing like north-south or south-north, you can usually only put 5 inserters on, maybe a couple more. But with this one, you're always guaranteed, I think, 7 or something like that. It's a much better system to use. So anyway, we've got all these conveyor belts set up. We've got the power network going and such. But of course, the power network is not actually any use yet because we need to get it coming all the way over from the main base. So I set up the train's schedule, and it's going to spend quite a bit of time in each station because, of course, it's going to be with the long travel times. We can sort of remedy that by having the train sit around for longer. It's slightly paradoxically, I suppose. I mean, I think that's how it works. I'm starting to doubt myself now, but I think that is the way it goes. But anyway, after waiting for a while for the 40 seconds to pass, the train sets off. You can see it is a very long way, and so even when you're in 3 times speed, it takes a bit of time to actually get home. It gets quite boring when you're going in normal speed. But anyway, now we're back. We can start setting up the unloading, because at the moment we only have unloading set up for half of the system, only for the front cargo wagon. Though at the moment it's not that important because the train isn't being loaded yet. We need to actually extend the power system over, but it's a good idea to sort out the unloading before we do that. So anyway, I've let the logistics bots resupply me. I just have a quick look at the rails. I was checking for congestion, but there's no trains around at all, so I guess it's not a problem right now. It might be that they all come at once, but they should sort of even out in that way, because the 2 copper trains are basically synchronized. So they should, if they interfere with each other, it should only be temporary before it all gets fixed and they sort of sync up nicely. Though they may still cause some interference with the iron train, which could be a problem. But now that we have 2, or we will have 2 very soon, we do right now, but they're not all delivering iron. I don't know, that shouldn't be a problem, I don't think, but congestion can always cause problems. Sometimes even if a system is made so that there shouldn't be any gridlocks, you can have things synchronized in such a way that everything just suddenly blocks everything else from moving, which has happened before on sort of test runs I've done of this rail design, but that requires a lot more trains, like 8 of them. So anyway, we're working our way along here with all of these pylons, and it's a pretty boring process because we just have to walk along to the limit of the pylon and place it. I remember that you can just hold down to just continually place them along, which is a very, very convenient system for this particular task, because otherwise it would take about twice as long, and it already takes a million years as it is. But anyway, we get things connected up, so now we need to actually just put in all the fiddly bits of power generation, well, power supply even, into the system. And there we go, the mining drills are now operational. I'll put a sort of backup connection there in case biters come along and destroy one of the lines of pylons or whatever. There goes the train. I unfortunately missed it. I meant to hop on board, but it set off just before I did. So then I tried standing next to the track so that I could hop in as it went past, but I missed. So I'm just going to have to walk home, which is slightly quicker than waiting for it to go all the way home, wait there and then come all the way back again, and then wait and then go again. So yeah, we get back home and we can resupply on efficiency modules, because that's one of the things we need. Unfortunately, I didn't resupply on those before I set off to the outpost the last time, and I didn't manage to fill all of the mining drills with efficiency modules, so I had to grab a bunch more of those, and I think I've missed the train going back as well, so I decided to hang around for a bit before I set off back. You can see the other iron train there. I'm just checking it because it was just sort of not being unloaded towards the end, but at the moment the iron is actually fine, because even though the supply isn't enough, the supply of copper is much, much worse, so it's alright really for iron. Iron's like going slow, but copper's going even slower, and really we should probably abandon this job and go and work on copper, because it's sort of more urgent at this point, because we've got 3 different outposts working on it, and 2 of them are sort of shutting down at the same time, but I want to get this just done before I'd start working on that, so I don't have to bother about it. So we put in some efficiency modules there, and then we can carry on putting more mining drills in. We want to put quite a few in, but then I suppose not too many, or else the pollution will start drawing biters in. You can already see the cloud's getting quite big, and in fact at one point it's extending to the edge of what I can see, so I might go over there and scan it in a minute. So yeah, I've got 1 row of mining drills set up here, and I can get the splitter to connect that up nicely, and that's all connected to the power thanks to the substations that we've got there. Put efficiency modules in and so on, and then I decided to put another row in on this side as well, just to keep it all evened up, and this should provide iron for a decent amount of time. We'll occasionally have to come along and sort of service things, but that shouldn't be a problem, I don't think. So we just put a couple more in, substations to keep everything powered, and then we can put efficiency modules and everything. And now all we really need to do is put in some defences, because of course, as I said, the biters might get a bit drawn to this place, what with it being so far out, and also producing a bit of pollution, and it's going to be difficult for me to respond to any attacks that might occur. So I was just sorting out all of the conveyor belts there to keep things flowing at a good speed while I was waiting for the turrets to be crafted, but now I have them, 10 of them, and I'm going to use all of them. So I'm just going to completely surround these mining drills, because this is what the biters will go for if they come along, and we don't want them to take it out if possible. So we get them all in. Now we have to put in the ammo. Usually I put 25 ammo into each turret, but I don't actually have enough to supply 10 of them here, so I put 15 in instead, which adds up nicely. I think I go away with exactly 50 ammo left. So just working my way through this. I'm just being sort of clever with how I'm like splitting things into 10s and then putting a 10 and a 5 and stuff. I don't know, it's unimportant. It's just a nice pattern that I had going there. But anyway, I go and scan this little area over here just so I can see what's going on. There's a little base that's a bit too near for my liking, so I just quickly take that out. It doesn't take too much effort, and then we can make our way home. Of course, the train isn't here, but I just do a quick check of the ore flowing, and then I check the radar, and I see the train disappearing into the area that my radars don't cover, so I know it's about to arrive, and here it is. So we can just hop on board, and then we'll have to wait 40 seconds while stuff happens there. I switch back to the modular armor, because I think I'm going to do some work back in the base for a while now, because ever since I got the power armor, I've just been constantly doing like away missions after coming up with the system of not wearing it while in the base. So the people who don't like the green of the night vision goggles probably aren't happy with me right now after all this using them when I was trying to not use them too much. But anyway, you can see copper is completely ruined. There is just nothing going on there right now. And basically it's choking the entire system. The entire factory is slowing down because of this. Though actually, the few times where I look around, I find that science is actually still running fine, because of course science doesn't actually require that much in terms of copper. It uses a lot of gears and stuff, and there's a few things that use circuits, but so far it's managed to get by. But blue science has slowed down a bit, but not enough to actually run down and start affecting the science system, which is good, because we want the science to keep going as quickly as possible. And seeing as we've got iron working absolutely fine right now, that's alright. And you can see this in action now. You can see that it's pretty much all going fine, apart from blue science being like running down just a little bit. So anyway, I'm resupplying again on efficiency modules, just to keep supplied, I guess. I can't remember if there's oh yeah, there is some more stuff to fill with those, because I just saw my inventory and I've got more than a stack there, and that's because, of course, with copper going to crap, we need to go and sort that out. We need to go to the we need to go and find a new copper outpost, new copper deposit, and build an outpost on it so that we can get the copper back up to a decent speed and get the factory functioning properly again. Because even though science is going all right, it's not going to be going all right forever, I expect. And also module production is completely ruined, because that does rely pretty much entirely on circuits, and that's where all our copper production is going, really. So anyway, I go and I've put on the away mission armor again, or whatever you want to call it, and I've gone over to this copper outpost here, Mini Copper 1, which has run down quite a bit since I first built it. There's a lot of mining drills run out, and also the threat of biters is gone, so I deconstructed all of the defenses as well. There's only actually, I think, four mining drills going now, and that's it. So I can even just get rid of that substation there and just use a normal power pole. So it's not quite shut down yet, and so I just leave that to do its thing and carry on. And I happen to pass by the iron outpost, so I just do a quick scan of that and get rid of some of the old and shut down mining drills there as well. And then we can start working on the new outpost, and it's going to come off here. And this is why I built this junction in the previous episode, because I knew that the next base I will be building is one directly down from it. So I start working my way down through the forests as usual, and this is an annoyingly thick bit of forest here. I'm really having to sort of force my way through, and it does take a while to get through it, and gets very frustrating, particularly considering that the episode's starting to run out of time. I was hoping that I could get the copper outpost set up before the end of the episode, just because it is something that is important and needs doing. But the trees just get in the way and slow things down so much. But we make our way over there, and we eventually get down to the outpost. Here you can see there's a few biters that are hanging around there that need to be dealt with. So once I finish with this particular stack of rail, the biters come along and say hi, and I go and say hi back with bullets. So there we go. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 spawners down, and no more bother from them. Used a couple of destroyer drones to help me with that. There's a base over here as well, which is actually, it was quite a tough one to deal with. It took a decent amount of my shields down before I managed to take it out, because there was just a ridiculous number of worms. Anyway, here's the deposit, and it turns out it's absolutely surrounded by trees. At this point I go, right, forget it. I'm not going to keep doing all this cutting down trees nonsense. I'm going to use these poison capsules that people keep telling me about, because people are constantly telling me in the comments to start using poison capsules on everything, so I guess there must be something good about them. And looking at the effect, it was pretty good there. I left it to go while I went and killed some biters, and I decided to use a couple more, and then I'd craft another couple while I go and deal with yet more biters over here. So I guess it is fairly effective for clearing out trees. I just like to be sort of not wasteful, but the thing is, I'm never going to use the wood from those trees, so really I should just get rid of them. So I use a couple of poison capsules just above the deposit as well, because that's where I'm going to put the station, same way as before, having it going horizontally above the deposit so that we can get the train filled up as much as possible. So I started cutting down a couple of other trees, but I decided to give up on that because we need to start making our way home, really, because there's only a minute left in the episode. And I've decided to just forget this whole thing with cutting down the trees and stuff entirely, and I just start shotgunning my way through the forests, because it's a lot quicker, and I'm trying to get home here. I'm trying to get this bit of rail done, so it works out quite well, because the shotgun fire is actually quite straight, considering, so you can just sort of clear out a straight line in front of you to put all the tracks along. So there we go, that's that done, and we can finish off the fiddly bits of that next episode and put the train in and so on, so that we can sort out the horribly ruined copper supply. So anyway, make my way home. Tons of trees still to unload, and a ton more stone to gather and to make into rail parts and so on. And then get a bit of research done, grab some coal to fuel the trains. logistics bots coming along and so on, resupply the alien artifacts, and then I decided to help the blue science production by just dumping some of the circuits I have into the assembler, so that it's sort of redistributing circuits from one part of the system to another, but it works pretty well, and that's it, so I shall say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time after swapping my armor there. There we go.